Man, whoever came up with the phrase herding cats, they meant it. Your turn. Come on. Who'd have thought that putting a whole bunch of blocks of the same type in one place would look terrible? Who would have thought that? You'd never think that, would you? No, and yeah, it does. My plans for a great big spire of the guts of a volcano needed an awful lot of work to not look like a giant purpley black blob. Unfortunately, still looks a lot like a big purpley black blob. You know what? I don't need this in fancy. Do not need that in fancy at all. Plus, if I have it on fancy, you can see all the pumpkins I hid in the trees that make lighting. Let's get a look at this up here, shall we? And any minute now. Yeah, we're it's one of those situations where you just got... I don't know what these guys are doing. Like, obviously they're out just making massive amounts of lag or something, because just whine, cry, snivel. Did a little bit to make this thing look less like a giant pile of one kind of block. Unfortunately, it still looks exactly like one giant pile of one kind of block. I'm going to try to work on that today. So, last episode, I would zoom into that if I had Optifine, but I don't. Playing around with more stone layers. That's powdered light gray concrete, because it sticks out more than diorite does. Diorite? Andesite. Andesite does. Because you can see my cursor, immediately to the left of my cursor, that's some diorite. You can't even tell from this here. Some andesite. One of these days I'm going to learn that word. That's some andesite over there. You can barely tell. You can tell up close. Like here, that's obvious. Okay. But when you get further and further away, you can't tell what any of it is. So, let's see if I can make it up here. And there we are. Well, I did mostly where I wanted to. So this tree, as I've already stated, this tree, well, outside of this shell, which is going to come down, this chunk of tree is the tree that's, why are you up here? Is the tree that was in this spot when I first started building this base. It's at about this level. I'm pretty sure it's at about this level. Although this level, was it out here? Yeah, about there, right? And I used to come up, I want to say here-ish, like that. I might still have a hole in the canopy up there. Probably not, though. And it was from there that I got to survey all the stuff I was doing. Now, unfortunately, one piddly jungle tree looks kind of terrible on top of this. Can I make it? I made it. Well, it would look kind of terrible sitting here by itself. You know, just one 4x4 tree. This needs to be something significantly more epic. And to do that, unfortunately, that means I have to pull a whole bunch of this down. That tree and its associated leaves are going to stay there. Like this is where I stood to get views of a bunch of stuff until I put this up here. This is all going to have to come down because I need to rebuild a new tree. Not that high. That's like build height up there. Not that high, but high enough to look like it deserves this giant plinth of obsidian. Which means I get to do an awful lot of axe work here. And one of the unfortunate bits about beacons is that it doesn't speed up harvesting wood. I'm gonna be a bit. If I can not fall to my death. all the big parts down. And it looks even worse now, doesn't it? Yep. I'm going to have to design a whole new tree for up there. I unfortunately have absolutely no idea how I'm going to do it. And as much as I would like this to be a building on camera kind of thing, I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut away and come back in like probably a week when I've got a tree that doesn't look absolutely terrible. Hopefully sooner than that. So what will be nothing more than transition for you is going to be several hours of heartache and frustration for me.
One eternity later.
And yeah, this is man, is it safe? It's safe. Mott's on right now, so getting to sleep takes a little longer than normal, and I don't want to step out into a creeper. That's where I realize I have no idea how to make roots. I just don't. What do I have? I have 2 ender pearls because I killed something. Let's get all the way over here. We'll take this in from a couple of spots. I do kind of wish I had an elytra for spots like this. Just so it's like, okay, I can hop up, take a look at a few things. And then I remember that wearing an elytra is basically, you're wearing a, I'll put it lightly, a suicide vest, wherein you intend to lose 90% of your belongings because of game physics. Up here, yeah, up here. Still got to send that somewhere yet. Don't know. So there's our obsidian pillar and our tree up on top. I'm trying not to fall off anything here. I would zoom in, but I don't have Optifine. I think the tree turned out okay. It might be still be a little bit spindly, but I want it to be. I didn't want like World Tree, you know, like a big giant dominating thing to cast such enough shadow that things spawn under it. Tried to decorate it a bit. If you know anything about kimberlite, you would know that a kimberlite pipe is the remnant of a volcano. So where the lava come up, and in kimberlite deposits are where you find diamonds. So I tried to break it up a bit with that. I am kind of low on diamond ore. Used a bunch up a little while ago. I had to blatantly stole this. I need something remotely Aztec looking. Blatantly stole it. I thought it looked awesome. Stole it. Got a bunch of plants. You know, spots where, you know, dirt has managed to settle. Things have sprouted. Nature is attempting to run over top of this. Yeah, that's a funky wither head that I got. I've got pumpkins underneath some of these, or in and behind. Let's go to fancy graphics. Yeah, so there's that pumpkin. Just a way to try to deal with. Like, I don't want stuff spawning all over this place, right? Like there's a pumpkin, some string, a bunch of buttons up there. Things that you wouldn't see except for like from way up there somewhere. So let's oh, I didn't make that jump, did I? Here. Someday I'll take this vine farm down. All the way up. Oh, I still gotta put some bone meal out here. Let that re-render. Yeah, ooh, wow, them buttons. Them buttons. I am not entirely sure how I feel about them buttons. Now that I'm up here, I think it does break it up, but it's kind of a little obvious. The problem is that what else do you put there, right? Like, they won't spawn. I can't put spattered redstone all over the place. Looks like they've been sacrificing people at it. Although, this is a Mesoamerican area, and that happened. Yeah, but might be rethinking them buttons. Might be. There's a whole bunch of neat stuff coming in 1.14. May have to revisit it. You see a bit of stripped logs right there. Have you ever seen really big trees? I'm talking with my hands again. You ever seen really big trees where the bark kind of splits down at the bottom, or in certain spots where branches have been kind of torn off but the tree kept growing? That's what I tried to go for there, and I don't believe I've pulled it off. I think that's going to require more work. Yeah, them buttons is not the thing I needed. It does break it up, but you can see where the planes are. I'm going to have to think of something. Gonna have to. But anyway, this episode has now managed to take me 4 days to get around to finishing. A pile of dirt in here. This place here still needs a little bit of work. I think I've managed to completely rewild this, haven't I? This looks reasonably, like, realistically generated. I know there's a spot way over there somewhere that's still kind of flat, and yes, that right there, that's a floating pumpkin. That's a floating melon that I didn't take down a long ass time ago. That's how high up the ground was here before I went after it with a pick and a shovel. So if you're wondering how much work has been done, if you haven't been watching this disastrous project from day one, that's how high the ground was over here before I installed this lake. I get a bit of fish in here. There was an actual river around here somewhere. I don't think I may have to stock it with named fish. Oh yeah, this is an actual river, so we'll get some actual fish in here. Not many. Oh, I'll have to name some. I could have swore I put some in one of the pools in my base, but I think they all swam up the waterfalls and got away. Fish are not a thing to install outdoors where they can escape. Yes, I just said fish escape. This is Minecraft. These things happen. We'll try to get something. I gotta come up with a project for next. I'm still not sure how to deal with the mob farm. Still working on that. I'm gonna step away from this here until we get some more blocks or a bit more inspiration. Hopefully something different than buttons. Yep, but we will. Is it already sundown? I have not talked for 10 minutes and it's already sundown. I will come up with a project for the future, and I will see you then.